Imagine getting paid just for sharing your thoughts on products and services you use every day. With Survey Junkie, it's that simple. Click on the link in the video description to discover how you can start earning today by taking surveys.
The supervisor of the NASA support team seeing the crew into the Challenger space shuttle on the launch pad at Cape Canaveral had a very special present for one of the seven, a red apple for the most famous teacher in the world. Bubbly, auburn-haired, girl next door Krista McAuliffe, a smiley social studies teacher from Concord, New Hampshire, had been selected from some 11,000 applicants to be the first civilian in space, a stunt intended to revive flagging public interest in space exploration by making it seem accessible to ordinary people. The plan was for her to teach two 20-minute lessons from the shuttle, transmitted live to Earth from orbit. One, titled The Ultimate Field Trip, would conclude with a 5-minute Q&A with her class back in Concord. She would also conduct 6 science demonstrations recorded on video and distributed by NASA to an audience of 18.5 million U.S. schoolchildren. As a public relations exercise, the Teacher in Space project was already a massive hit. Some 800 journalists, twice as many as usual, had signed up to be at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida for the launch. The world was watching, just as excited as Krista at this new giant step for mankind. McAuliffe took the proffered apple and raised it to her face with a smile, then handed it back. "Save it for me," she said. "I'll eat it when I get back." She never got the chance. The hatch was closed and the countdown was underway for the 25th space shuttle flight in a program of reusable space transport that, on the morning of January 28, 1986, was into its 5th year. Inside, harnessed flat on their backs in unyielding aluminium seats, lay the flight deck crew, Commander Dick Scobie, pilot Mike Smith, Judy Resnick and Ellison Onizuka, and beneath them on the lower deck Ron McNair, Greg Jarvis and McAuliffe. They lay there as the 2 solid-fuel booster rockets, to which the shuttle was attached, kicked into life and 6 million pounds of thrust rattled through every nut, bolt and fixture inside the spacecraft. They had liftoff, clearing the gantry. "Go, you mother," Smith said as the shuttle accelerated towards the speed of sound. Hot, called out Resnick as the Challenger's computers increased engine power and it hurtled into space at almost 1,500 miles per hour, for all of 73 seconds. And then, the shuttle was more than 4 miles up when flames could be seen licking the side of the right-hand booster rocket. A plume of liquid hydrogen burst into the slipstream and ignited. The millions on Earth watching what was supposed to be another NASA triumph couldn't believe their eyes as Challenger was engulfed in a ball of orange and white flames, a swelling cloud of combustible propellant. The booster rockets tore free from their mounts and the most complicated machine in history began to disintegrate in flight. Its stubby wings ripped away, the cargo bay burst like a paper bag and the fuselage broke apart. "The effing thing blew up," was all one cameraman could say in utter disbelief. All radio and data transmission from the flight deck stopped suddenly. America went into a state of shock as it took on board the spectacular loss of 7 lives, on camera, in front of their families, as well as the massive blow this tragedy meant for the space program. Plans for shuttles to plant commercial satellites in orbit, to develop space tourism, to push frontiers, had gone up in flames. A distraught President Ronald Reagan canceled his annual State of the Union address and from the Oval Office told his nation, "The crew of the Challenger honored us by the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them, this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of Earth to touch the face of God." He pledged to maintain the shuttle program. "We'll continue our quest in space," he said. "There will be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews and, yes, more volunteers, more civilians, more teachers in space. Nothing ends here, our hopes and our journeys continue." But what went unsaid, as was later discovered and is now spelt out in a superb new book by leading investigative reporter Adam Higginbotham, is that the Challenger disaster was an accident that had been waiting to happen for some time. Critics of the Space Shuttle program were becoming increasingly vocal, concerned at the huge C.